Hello everybody, this is Chris. Thank you for joining me. So today we're going to make some jewelries. We're going to be making some pendants. You could make earrings, whatever you wish, or even incorporate this into a bracelet. So it's very easy, and we're going to be using Pebeo paints, and I just love them. We're going to use one kind of paint. It's very simple. We're going to be using a little bit of wood, but first let me show you, and resin, and let me show you what it looks like. So I'm going to try to zoom in as much as I can, and I'm going to try not to move too much. So let me try this, and I hope it will not be blurry. I love this one as well. It's very abstract because you won't have a lot of control. I'm sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. I'm trying to hope this one is good. Yeah, this one is really, really nice. And I have another one here using the same colors, because once you're at it, you try to make several of these. It will never be the same. It will never look exactly the same. So keep that in mind, because you won't have a lot of control, because when it dries, it's still going to move on. So when you come back after 10-15 minutes, you're going to see it's completely different. But even that, I love it. This is the brightest one I have. Look at this one. Whoa. Oh, this one is absolutely gorgeous. And they are metallic paints. Can you see the cells here? You've got tiny cells in this one. You've got bigger cells here. So if it's the look you're looking for, it's perfect. And we're going to talk about the Pebeo paints in just a second. I just wanted to show you this up close. Okay, so let me zoom out now. And we're going to be using these paints, not the vitrine. I'm sorry, this is a bad example. I don't know what it's doing here. So we're going to use the Prism Colors paints from Pebeo. And the Prism do all these little cells. And they tend to get wider and wider if you put more. You are supposed to use these paints in a thick way and not apply them with a paintbrush. I'm also going to show you this. They come in a variety of colors, and also they usually come with a set of what they called the moon. Which are the moons? Do I have the moons here? Yes, they come with this. They kind of work together. If I had to choose one, I would choose the Prism because of the cells that it makes, the cellular things inside. The moon is more subtle. It gives like a marble effect, but I prefer the Prism. But that's totally up to you. I'm going to be using probably mostly these. And for my pendants, I'm going to be using these little wood pieces. They're just plain wood piece. And they come in a variety in a sachet like this. You get different shapes, you can different sizes. And you can also think about matching, you know, maybe you could glue this on top of this one and make even another layer on top and have something really more 3D effect. You don't have to just leave them plain flat like this. And I will show you one of these I have done previously doing that. So I might do this again. Am I going to do this on this one or on this one? I think I like it this way. So I'm going to use a little bit of glue here. You can use wood glue or any good brand that will fix that. And I wouldn't worry too much because we're going to seal this afterwards with UV resin. You can use also regular epoxy resin, you know, the two components. I just want to put that one here inside. Put it there. Normally you should wait for it to dry, but I'm not too worried about it. And we're going to start using our paint. So there's something really important you need to know whether you're using the moons or the Prism, is that you need absolutely to mix very well your paint before using it. And every time you're going to use it, give it a stir. Because if you don't do that, you won't have that cell effect. It's not going to work. So I'm using a wooden stick, and this one is stained, but it's clean. And you need to really, can you see here, you've got different effects. You really need to stir at least, I would say, 30 seconds, if not more, maybe up to a minute sometimes. And you'll see that it needs to be a bold, unified color. If you see something on top, it's not good. So if you really want to make it work, give it a good stir every time before using it, okay? And even when you already did that and you've put it aside for maybe a minute or two to give it a stir, That is really, really important. So, that said, we're going to work. To thin it down, I didn't think about checking it first, but it used solvents. So be careful, do this in a well-ventilated area because it's a chemical. So that's important. Maybe wear a mask, something that is, that is going to take all the fumes out of your lungs. It's always better. And it's even more important if you use resin. You need to have not just a paper mask, but something, a respirator, something that is going to be really putting this barrier, against your lungs. So what I'm going to use here is I'm going to use this color as my center here. I'm going to use on the top. So even though I already mixed it a few minutes ago, I'm still going to give it a light stir. And I'm going to use the same stick here to apply my paint. Actually, you're going to pour it on, but very, very little. And a little goes a long way. And it's nicer, you will see that, if you do that quite thick, it's even better because, especially if you're working on this surface, which is a porous surface, it's not coated, this piece of wood, so a part of it is going to sink into it. But anyway, it is meant to be used on a thick layer, not just to paintbrush it, if you really want to have all the nice effects of it. And can you see this already? Oh my goodness, I need to come much, much closer. Can you see this? This is just gorgeous. And something else really important, try to work on a leveled, really flat table. Otherwise it might, leak on one side and that's not going to be good. So I'm going to call this piece there done. And I really like the look of it. It's not just one plain color unified. It's lovely. You better have a little paper towel to clean your stick every time, or you can change colors as soon as you change colors. That's something you can do. I know that's usually blues and purples. You use that more with silver. I'm not too much into silver, so I'm going to get more like a goldish color, and I think I'm going to use this one now. So a little stir, and I'm going to put this on the side here. This one is getting quite thick, and some people say you should use turpentine. I have used white spirit. It should be something like that. I'll check it out maybe next time while I write to Pebeo. They might also have a thinner, a paint thinner, because this one is really, really getting thick. And I had some of these paints for over 5 years, so this is also why it's getting quite thick. Okay, and I go right up to the edge. Be careful not to go too far away, otherwise it's going to drip off. I'm going to call that one good, and it's going to level by itself. Oh, this green seems beautiful. Look at this one in the cap. I think it's going to look nice. So again, nice little stir. Go well on the sides when you mix it. Go on the sides. Scrape the bottom of your bottle. Okay, now I'm going to put this one around here. And you should be able to find this brand in all the best craft stores there, or maybe art supplies as well. Yeah, it's going to be just awesome. Oh, I love this color. A little bit more. And of course, they're going to mix together. Let me turn this around a little bit. I'm out of, okay, that's good. Right up to the edge. What I could have done before doing this, you know what, maybe this is something you should do, is probably paint the sides first. I will paint the sides and the back just plain gold, using this time acrylic paint because it's going to be the back of my pendant, a nice metallic gold paint. I'm going to use this red here, metallic pinkish red. And I'm going to go on that side here. And it's going to be more comfortable for me if I turn it around. Be gentle. You understand now why it should be, your table should really be leveled. Go straight up to the edge. And it's okay if they blend together, it's just I'm trying to have a certain pattern here. And I will put more on top. So if you want to, you can let it dry. So now what you can do is you can add a little bit of this color here and there when you want to. I'm going to change, I'm going to take this away, and I'm just going to use a toothpick. So I'm going to have smaller little drops here, and I might use a little bit of this same color and put a little drop there into my gold. And it's going to spread around a little bit. You see that? I'm done with this color. I think I'm going to leave the inside plain, the blue part, which actually is more purpley than what you can see. Oh, sorry, I wanted to come a little closer. I don't want to go too fast. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to put a few drops of gold into the red. And remember, it's not going to stay like this exactly. Make sure that when you dip it back, you're not contaminating your paint in there. So I'm not touching the color here. I'm not touching the red. And I'm going to do this as well into the green. This might be a bit big. I'm going to take a smaller one. There you go. And you could make swirls. You can go in there and move it along. I'm just trying to have some kind of a nice little pattern. Touch the color. And you see a little drop is trying to spread quite a lot. This is why I'm going very slow and very lightweight with the color, because it tends to really move along. And you can also put another color in there. Why not go back with that purple and go back into the gold and see what happens. Sometimes some of them will be a little heavier and will try to sink down a little bit. And I think it's absolutely gorgeous. You know what? I don't want to do anything right now on this part. And because the paint is all very fluid right now, be careful not to move your table. And I wouldn't do any much, because what I'm afraid of is that if I put another bead of paint there, that is going to go overboard and go everywhere and ruin maybe the whole thing. So when it will dry enough, I will maybe put some gold here in the middle where the purple is to give it something else, not just leave it plain like this. But I really don't want to do it now. I might do a square one this time. And what I'm going to do, let me go and zoom out a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a silicone mold. What I'm going to do to make sure I'm not going to put my fingers in there, I'm going to put it on the top here and put it on another flat table. So let me try to do this. There you go. And I'm going to keep on with another one. I haven't used black. Is this black? Or is it, yes, it's black. So maybe give it a try. Black is usually not my colors, not my color. I usually don't use black that often. Okay, this one is really liquidy. It's the most liquidy of all the paints, of all the other colors that I have seen. Very liquidy. So, and it's not black. It's more like it's they call it onyx. Onyx, how do you pronounce that? You tell me. Onyx, I'm not sure. So I'm going to put it on one side here, being careful not to put too much. I don't want it to overflow. I come a little closer. I think I'm going to go back with more red. So again, and I'm being generous with this one. I think I would have liked a really black color, but I'm not sure they have black. It seems more like black with little glitter in it. Okay, I already love this red. I like a more reddish color. I don't know if they do it, but I'm in love with these colors, and I will buy a little bit more. I'm going to go with this green. So again, the moon will not do the cells. And those of you who are doing pouring, paint pouring, you know what cells are when you put the silicone in. That's what the prism does, naturally. This one is thicker. I had this one for a long time. And if you put, if you use moon, I would put moon first, and then I would put prism on it, because it tends to want to eat the prism and conquer its space. So what you can also do is take a toothpick and then make some swirls. You bring the color in. What I would do is clean your toothpick every time before going back into something else. And do something like this. But it's not going to stay this way, people. It's going to change. And it's going to keep on moving until it's dry enough and stop. But it's going to change for a while. And I like these swirls right now, the way it looks. Well, I can see my table is not flat. It tends to come back. And bringing the green or the gray into the green here. I'm going to bring a little bit more. Yep. But it seems like it tends to spring back a little bit. I don't know how to put my light so you can see what I'm doing. Oh, it might be better this way. I think I got it. Yeah. Okay. So because it tends to spring back, I think I'm going to put a little bit more red in here directly from the bottle and bring it there. I'm taking a bit more and bring it in. Yeah. So you really need to make some trials and see what works. And again, a bit of green in here. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with the gray. onyx is not black, it's gray. Makes sense after all. Yes, it's much, I think it's going to work better than trying to drag it in. It really depends on the colors. I've done this previously and it worked, but not with these colors maybe. And it seems like the green is kind of disappearing here. So I'm going to add a little bit more. But the colors are a bit dull. I don't know what you think. So I might throw some gold in here, even though I love the cells that it's already making. I like that. I really do. But see, the red is not doing exactly what I'm asking him to do, and that's fine. I know it. I mean, you know it from the beginning that it's not going to have the exact same thing that you wanted. But again, when it starts to harden a little bit and dry, you'll be able to do more. So I think I'm at this stage, I'm going to add a little bit of this gold because it's a bit dark and dull for me. So, and of course, you do your own combo there, right? Yeah, it's going to brighten up the whole thing. And kind of still follow the same pattern that I wanted before. And this color, the gray color there, is brand new. In the beginning, Pebeo didn't have all these colors, but now they're brilliant. Oh, I love it. I love it. I don't know what you think, but I love it. Little dab of gold just there. Oh, yes. And one here. Looks like a little flower there. I think it's nice. What do you think? I'm going to put more because it tends to disappear. Was it this green? Yes, it was this one. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. So when this happens, that's a good thing. I'm gonna cut it off. Try to immediately do this. Scrape it on the part on the side. Of course, take this away, but scrape it so it won't tend to, now that the colors have found a way to get off, they might all follow. So as soon as you can, clean it and scrape it there. And I'm looking at it, it seems good. I don't think there's no more going off now. I will take a look. I'm not going to go far away. I'm going to stay around here. And now you're going to tell me, yes, but we can't see the red any longer. That's true because things keep on changing. Let's go back to a little bit of red. So I'm going to go in here. I always clean it back before going into the jar because I don't want my colors again to be contaminated. Think about that. And probably put more in here because I'm not so crazy about that black. Or maybe I should have had maybe brighter colors around it, but yeah. And you know what? I think I should call it good because what is not easy is that you know when to stop. So it's still going to continue moving along and changing shape and things like that. So I'm going to call it good. See you in a bit as soon as it's dry and we'll continue and finish our pendants. Right, we're about a week later and it has cured completely, and this is what I would recommend. I would recommend to waiting about 7 days to make sure that your paint is completely dry, even in depth, before putting anything on top. Because what might happen, it happened to me in the past, is that if you don't wait for the paint to dry, when you're going to put the resin on top, very quickly it's going to go foggy because the paint is not dry. It's going to liberate some air and it's going to go foggy with your resin on top. So really wait for a good amount of time before you do that. So now that it's done, you can use any kind of resin to glaze it. You can use epoxy resin or you can use UV resin. I'm just going to use UV resin and I'm going to pour a little bit on top here, and I'm going to use a toothpick to spread it around. I forgot to tell you one thing that I have done previously, is that before doing that, I have coated the back of my other pendants with gold acrylic, and it's easier to do that before. I think it's much better because in case you make a spill before putting the resin, you paint it all on the back and then you will resin the back of it too, to just secure the paint. So first to do that, which I haven't done here, but put a little bit of, with the paintbrush, some gold on the back, gold or silver, whatever color you want. It can be black as well. And then what you're going to do is just thread it up to the edge. You can start by doing this on the side of your pendant if you want to. Just do one with doing this on top first and then doing the sides first. It's totally up to you. I think that maybe doing the sides first would be easier, but you need to put a very nice coating on top. I've done the edges as well. I've put some paint there and then I've resined all of these. And that's what we're going to do now with this one. And I like using UV resin because it cures very quickly. In about 2 minutes it's done because we're not putting a thick layer. You can put 2 or 3 layers if you really want to dome it. That's what I would do. And there you go. Then you're going to put it under your UV resin. Make sure that there are no little bubbles. At this stage you can add also some glitter. I'm not, because I think it's really nice the way it is. I'm just going to put it through and we'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, the resin has cured and it's absolutely shiny. It's already doming on the sides, but I wanted to show you how I just applied the paint. So I'm going to use this color here, and I'm just going to apply it a very thin coat. The wood here is going to drink a lot of it. Is going to absorb a lot of the paint. So what I would do is put probably 2 coats. So I'm going to go in both directions, so I don't see the paintbrush strikes, or strokes, not strikes. It's that strikes is something different, strokes. And I want it to be really shiny. And in between I'm going to let dry maybe 10 minutes because it's quite hot in the room. Then I'll apply a second coat to make sure everything is even and nice. And then I will let cure about maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes to make sure that also my second coat is completely dry. And then I will apply the resin also on the back. Don't forget to do the sides. What I like to do for the sides is like I use a flat paintbrush like this, take all the excess away, and then just rub it slightly there. Maybe that's not enough, a little bit more. And it makes your wood even more even. Sometimes, you know, these pieces of wood are not totally even, not straight. That makes everything look nice. I went a little bit too much on the edge, so I'm going to take some tissue paper, and when it's still dry, take all that excess away. There you go. You see that? I will probably go and do a second coat. I'm going to do this on all sides, and when it's finished I'll apply another coat of resin there, just one for the back, and probably a second one on top here to make it a little bit more domey. Even though I think it's quite domey, you can see this on the sides. And when you look at it in real life, you can see this part really domey. Something important, if you want to put this into a pendant, what I would do, and it's important to think about this, and I made the mistake here, but I've only got one coat, so it's not a problem. Apply your bale first, and it's better to do that on raw material, like if it was another piece of wood, before putting the paint, because you're adhering that piece onto a paint. So if you have a really thick coat of paint, what might happen, because the glue is going to work, if you're using, like, for example, E6000, it's going to be a really strong glue, but what could happen is that it's only sticking to your paint. So your paint might chip off if somehow you manage to maybe pull too hard on your pendant, on the bale. It might just break, or not really break, it's just the paint coming off. So think about putting your bale onto the back of your pendant without anything on it, or maybe resin. You could still maybe do that. Since I have made the mistake, I will put resin on top and stick this to the resin, but never do it on paint, because the paint is probably going to tear off at a moment or another. So that's something important. I've got just one coat here, so I don't think it's going to do much. But if I had 2 or 3 coats, that could be a problem over time. If I had to, sometimes when you take your necklace off, you might tear it in a certain way or pull too hard. So keep that in mind, that's important. So I'm going to finish that up and I'll show you the final result. Okay, so here are some of the examples now that they're almost all done. I haven't put yet the bale on, but I will do this off camera, because I think you really know how to do that. It's not that riveting. So let me show you now with the glaze with this UV resin what it looks like, and I think it's beautiful. And even the back looks perfect, and I think it has a more professional look to it when you put the resin on both sides, and also put resin, of course, on the little sides there. Okay, so that's important. So these 3 are using the same colors with a lot of moon, a little bit of a prism. If you use more moon, like I said, it's going to take over. So you won't have that much of an effect of the cells, but I'm going to show you others. So these, for example, has a lot of prism on, and this is really, really nice. How far can I go until it goes blurry? This one is really nice. You can see all the details and all the cells that I have formed here. Big cells here, smaller here. It depends on the room they have to develop, but I really, really love the look of it. So that's one. I think I've showed you this one before. I want to show you this one too, because I just love the colors. And I have put 2 little rhinestones there, and I need to put another coat because it's not completely flat. I think you can get that. So I will put maybe 2 other coats on top, so everything is leveled. And don't forget, talking about that, have an also very leveled table, and look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. And you can really see all the cells and the mix of the colors. It has moved a little bit when it was drying, and I just love it. And this one too, I don't know why I like this side better. And it has, you can see the colors that shift a little bit depending on how you look at them with the light on. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And this one I will finish in just a minute, but I really like the look of it too. And I like the fact that it's a shape that you're not going to find everywhere. So when you make pieces of jewelry, trying to find something that looks a little different. I wanted also to show you this. You remember this one I have done last time in one of the last videos, and I've put also some UV resin on top, and I think that it's much nicer when it's glossy and it's all in one piece. So I really, really enjoyed that. And now this is the one that we have, that's another one I have done. And I wanted to show you this one. I haven't done the back of it yet, but I will in a moment. And look at this. So, so nice. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you will try these colors. You don't have to buy all of them, just a few to make a test and see if you really enjoy them and then get some more. and also having a nice resin on top where very glossy varnish would be absolutely gorgeous. It's really going to protect it. And if you do use some kind of UV resin, I would consider when you're not wearing it to put it in a drawer in a dark place, because resin tends to yellow a little bit over time. So in order to protect them, put them when you're not wearing them in a dark place, so it will last longer. That's my recommendation. So if you did like this video, please give me some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button, and of course, share on social medias. Thank you so much. Take care and see you soon.